You might have struggled in the past between keeping the reference data up to date and enriching data streams at speed at the same time, mainly because it is hard to enrich the data at speed without keeping the reference data into the cache, and as the data cached, you have stale values. On the other side, if you decide to go directly to the database for the lookup, every time it is too slow for real-time analytics. Welcome to part 2 of the series where we will be building real-time gaming leaderboard application using Apache Flink. Over the course of 5 episodes, you will learn all parts of streaming architecture starting from ingestion, enrichment and all the way to the visualization. You will also learn advanced analytics techniques like control channel for A/B testing, handling late arrival of data, exactly once, archival and on-demand replay of the data. In last video, I provided you with the overview of a streaming architecture we are building and completed the ingestion portion. If you haven't seen part 1, I highly recommend you to watch it to get yourself familiar with the use case, streaming concepts and overall architecture we are building. In this video, I will show you how you can enrich a data stream at speed using MySQL database chain data capture. We will also talk about the data freshness. You can find the GitHub repo containing everything you need in the description below. Let's begin. So let's understand what is CDC and how we can use this CDC method to update the state which is cached within the Flink. So imagine you have a table in the database with two fields, one is the ID and second is the subscription type with the player 1 and subscription type is free. This is called initial setup, and as you have this initial setup, CDC connector is going to bring this data into the Flink state in terms of the event, and event will be insert in this case. Now imagine at some time t2 in future, there is a new row which is added and player 2 join the gold membership. You again get the insert event propagated towards the Flink. Next one, player 1 upgrades the subscription type from free to 7-day trial, and that generates a update event this time instead of the insert one. Finally, player 2 data get deleted and that generates the delete events. What is the purpose of generating these events which is in sync with the database? These events help us to update the Flink state and hold the most latest up-to-date value which is exact reflection of what you have in the database. How we will use this reflected data of a Flink state into the joining process. So imagine now you have the state of a player 1 with the free membership at time t1 and you receive the event for exact same player which is speed 280. So in this case the joined enriched data will produce player 1 subscription type free and speed is 280. But when the same data comes in future with let us say time t3, player 1 has now speed 300, because Flink has the most up to date data received already from the database and in the cache, Flink will say okay, again I need to generate the data for player 1, but this time with subscription 7-day trial because that is updated and the speed will be 300. What we have built so far is already an ingestion portion of the architecture. In this case, we will add two more components. One is the lambda function which is again the data generator continuously generating these update, delete and insert events into the database, and then we connect this database into the Flink. Now let me give you an overview of the code changes and guide you through the how to deploy CDK changes in your setup. So we already finished the ingestion portion as you see here. In this case, you start with the branch number 2 which is CDC enrichment setup. What it does for us is creates a network which is basically a VPC with two subnet types. First one is the public which allows two directional internet. Second one is private which allows AWS resources to go out and contact the internet, but does not allow the reverse traffic to any internet resources to come back and contact AWS resources. Next, it sets up serverless database where you have two options. First one is to use the Aurora MySQL if you wish to. For the demos we are going with the EC2 based MySQL setup, which is essentially a mix of a secret manager which holds the credential for the database and the instance which is running the MySQL database for you. Third one, data generator for player, which mimics the changes into the database in terms of the insert, update and delete events. Let us go ahead now and deploy this. So, again going back to the terminal, I am in the branch 2 and in the infra folder already. I will say cdk deploy. When prompted for the changes, again you say yes to confirm. Let us wait for the changes to be deployed. If you have any questions about anything in this architecture, please leave comment and I will answer it. So, let me show you where is the code for building the Waverica CDC connector. So, it is in the jar folder. You will already see one jar pre-compiled for you. It is a pom.xml which builds it. So, pom.xml is like the Java way of building the fat jar with all the dependencies together. What you will see in this pom.xml is I have included two libraries. First one is Waverica connector for MySQL, second one is the MySQL connector Java, and then you have a shared plugin which brings all the dependencies together and builds the fat jar just like this. Using the CDK that we have, it already ships this fat jar to AWS and reference that into a notebook. That is how we are using this jar, and therefore, we are able to use the MySQL CDC as a connector type for the tables. We already discussed about how we will use Waverica CDC connector for Apache Flink to connect and stream CDC changes from MySQL. Now, let us understand how we build this connector and use it in notebook. As you see, you will have two new outputs appeared in the stack in CloudFormation console. First one with MySQL credential link and second is the host name of the MySQL database. Let us go to the Kinesis Analytics service and the Studio Notebook. You will see the new Studio Notebook appearing here, which is quite similar to what you spinned up in the last part. Now, let us hit run to start this notebook and then hit open Apache Zeppelin to load the Zeppelin. You can hit import, select the challenges notebook from the same notebook folder of the GitHub repo, click open, it will load up the new challenges notebook for you. Let us open this. What we already have done is the events table. If you have not created it, just make sure that you change the region and run it again. You can run it n number of times because it always drops the table and recreates if it already exists. In my case, I am in US East 1, so I am doing that again. Now, going to the players table, as you see it uses the MySQL CDC connector. Now, take the host name and the password from the CloudFormation. You can see the player table schema already here. It contains variety of fields like operation timestamp, player ID, alias and other thing. Operation timestamp is the timestamp of a given operation like insert, update or delete, and the rest of the schema is here. Now, as you see the table is created, you will use the player ID column to make a join across the two tables. In the event table, you also see the event time and event time TZ. The main difference is event time TZ is time zoned one. So, the challenge for you here is, can you select the data from the players table? You can use these two commands to describe the schema. The next challenge, can you select from player table and plot a pie chart showing player distribution by country? Next challenge 2.2. Can you join the player and the event table based on the system time? Use the event time zone. You can refer this link which gives you more information about how the temporal join works in case of Apache Flink. In this video, we learn how to keep your data fresh through streaming enrichment in real time. If you are enjoying this series, please like this video and consider subscribing. In the next video, I will show you how to process data, calculate leaderboard and create easy to understand visuals. Stay tuned.